Hi, this is Mike at MonkeyPod, and in this video I'm going to show you how to record and track your grant expenses. But before you can actually record any grant expense, we've got to make sure that we've got a grant recorded on your books. There's two ways to record a grant in MonkeyPod. You can do that through the Grant Tracker app. You can find that here under your main menu. If you don't see it here listed, you just go to your app marketplace and install the Grant Tracker. Alternatively, you can record a new grant by going to your transactions menu and just record a new grant by selecting that. Okay, for this video though, we're going to assume that we've got a couple of grants already recorded on our books, and we can record an expense and allocate it for one of those grants. To see our grants, we go to our main menu, go to our chart of accounts, click over to net assets. We can see here any assets that have restrictions. So these are donations or grants with restriction. We can see that we have a student mentoring program grant for $35,000. I can click into that, and I can see that on March 1st, we had $35,000 awarded from the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation. But I don't see any other expenses that have been recorded and associated with this grant so far, so I know I have all $35,000 still left to spend. Okay, now we're going to actually record an expense. To do that, you'd go up to your transactions menu. We can write a check or record a debit card purchase, credit card charge, or enter a bill. For this example, let's write a check. Okay, so you can see that we have a couple of different options here. We can print a check from MonkeyPod. We can record an expense if the check number already exists. We can list this as a debit card purchase or an electronic payment. For this example, let's go with writing a check or printing a check from MonkeyPod. First, we're going to select the payee's name. Out of our database, we can say that this is going to be go to Willow Cusco. It's going to come out of our checking account. We can pick the date. Let's say this went for March 23rd, and we can put in our memo line. Maybe this was for delivering a student mentoring workshop. Next, we can put in all the expense details. Let's say that this was for $500. We're going to select the account. We can say that this maybe was for professional fees. Next, because it's an expense, we have to list a class. And we can say maybe this was for programs and services. Maybe it was for our alumni mentoring network program. And here's the next drop-down menu here is where you're going to see any of your grants listed that you can then record that expense on. So in this case, we're going to select our student mentoring program grant, and we can even select a tag for a specific project or an event or something like that that was related to this program and grant. So let's go with our 2022 workshops and webinars tag. And if we want, we could list additional notes there as well. Okay, we're going to click Save. Okay, so now we can see that the transaction has been recorded. We can see a couple of kind of the basic details here, that this is a check yet to be printed. We can see the date, the amount, the payee, as well as our memo. We can attach a file or any sort of documentation that we need to associate with this transaction. And I can see all the accounting details down here at the bottom. You'll notice that MonkeyPod automatically handles the release of restricted net assets. You can see how that's done on a separate debit and credit down here, as well as the actual payment for the $500 coming out of checking. If we need to then print that check, we can go up to our menu here, click Print Check. We can edit that check. We can memorize that check going forward. If we need to void it or delete it, we can do all of those things. But the other thing that I want to show you here is that we can go back to our chart of accounts and see that that grant is now automatically being updated with this new expense that we recorded. So to do that, we're going to click on our main menu here, go back to chart of accounts. We'd go back to our net assets. We can see that our student mentoring program now has only $34,500 as of today. I can click into that grant, and I can now see that here's the check for $500 paid out to Willow for delivering a student mentoring workshop. Okay, so that has been a quick introduction to recording and tracking grant expenses. Thanks so much for watching.